Hello, students. Hope you are all well and are curious to understand the origin of quantum mechanics. This lecture is as important to understand as is the subject physics, because by the time our physicists thought that all the phenomena in this universe are explained to us, the science of the birth of quantum mechanics grew up and then opened up new ways to the development and advancements in science. क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स ने हमारे सोचने के ढंग को भी बदला और हमारी समझ को भी विस्तार दिया। ये बड़ी ही हैरानी की बात है कि जो चीजें, जो फिनोमिना क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स में इम्पॉसिबल थी, असंभव थी, वो भी बाद में पॉसिबल प्रूव हुई और क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स की वजह से उन्हें एक्सप्लेन भी किया जा सका। तो बच्चों, आप अनुमान लगा सकते हो कि हाउ मच क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स इज सिग्निफिकेंट टू स्टडी एंड अंडरस्टैंड। So in this lecture, we will discuss that from where the quantum mechanics originated, कहाँ से quantum mechanics की शुरुआत हुई. But to start with, I believe that we should possess some brief knowledge about the various branches that physics has. Here I have listed few names which explain the various aspects of any phenomena in physics, and every branch have their own significance. Spectroscopy, statistical mechanics, optics, thermodynamics, classical or quantum mechanics, these are the various branches in physics. So when you deal with the behavior of many particle system, then obviously it is quite difficult to obtain the precise data of various parameters. Then you need to get the statistical data or the average data for each parameter. This is the statistical mechanics. When you need to study about the heat and temperature related processes in any system, then you would follow the laws of thermodynamics. Optics deals with light. That is, when you study the lens, mirrors, the behavior of light with the matter, then this is optics. Spectroscopy is the interaction between any matter and the radiations. Similarly, if you want to study the motion of any object, like any person, any vehicle, a football, you can say, then you will deal with the Newton's laws of motion that belongs to classical mechanics. And further, if you study the motion of particles which are in atomic dimensions, then you need to understand the laws of quantum mechanics, the postulates of quantum mechanics. Now you may ask, why this difference? Why motion of a football is studied using the laws of classical mechanics, while the motion of an electron is explained by the laws of quantum mechanics. So here lies the reason for the origin of quantum mechanics. Dear students, classical mechanics deals with the macroscopic objects and quantum mechanics deals with microscopic objects. Now, what are microscopic and microscopic objects? Broadly, you can understand this in this way, that macroscopic objects can be seen by our naked eyes, while microscopic objects cannot be seen, cannot be observed by our naked eyes. Microscopic objects has the dimensions of atoms. Now, what is the order of atomic size? This is 10 raised to power minus 10 meter. The nuclear size is of the order of 10 raised to power minus 14 meter. Obviously, 10 raised to minus 14 meter is smaller than 10 raised to minus 10 meter. So, if I say that all the study related to the objects which have clear dimension of the order greater than 10 raised to power minus 6 meter, अगर कोई भी स्टडी जिनके अंदर डायमेंशन 10 रेज टू पावर माइनस 6 मीटर से ज्यादा है, देन ऑल दोज फिनोमिना कैन बी एक्सप्लेन्ड वेरी मच सेटिस्फैक्टरीली बाय द लॉज ऑफ क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स। और हर एक डायमेंशन जो 10 रेज टू पावर माइनस 6 मीटर से कम है, तो वो हमारी क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स के कैटेगरी में फॉल करती हैं उनको हम क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स की हेल्प से समझ सकते हैं. नाउ क्वेश्चन इज व्हाई इट इज सो. डियर स्टूडेंट्स, classical mechanics was developed much before than the quantum mechanics. Now, this is very much curious to see that if it has valid laws, then why those can't be applied to particles of atomic dimensions? This answer lies in the failure of classical mechanics. Now, do not think that the laws of classical mechanics are wrong and failed. Actually, there is a limitation to these laws beyond which they were proved as inapplicable. Now see, what does the classical mechanics hold? Number one, Newton's laws of motion. Newton's three laws that govern all the motion of object moving in macroscopic world. Number two, gravitational inverse square law. Number three, Coulomb inverse square law of attraction or repulsion acting between electrically charged bodies. And lastly, the law of force acting on the moving charge in magnetic field, which is called the Lorentz force. Now see, ध्यान से अगर देखो तो पहला जो पॉइंट है उसमें साफ लिखा है कि हर एक बॉडी का मोशन मैक्रोस्कोपिक वर्ल्ड में न्यूटन के 3 लॉ के द्वारा एक्सप्लेन किया जा सकता है. नेक्स्ट, एनी ऑब्जेक्ट दैट हैज मास, जिसका भी मास है उनके बीच में जो भी अट्रैक्टिव फोर्स है ग्रेविटेशनल, उसके लिए हमारे पास क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स में ग्रेविटेशनल इनवर्स स्क्वायर लॉ है. अब अगर इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की बात करें तो इलेक्ट्रिकली चार्ज बॉडी जो होंगी उनके अंदर अट्रैक्शन और रिपल्शन डिपेंडिंग अपॉन देयर चार्ज जो होगा उसे भी कूलम्ब इनवर्स स्क्वायर लॉ के द्वारा एक्सप्लेन किया जा सकता है. And finally, in the magnetic field, if any object is moving in magnetic field, then too Lorentz force explains that in a beautiful manner. So all these laws are successfully gracing the classical mechanics. And you should know that in physics, something is said to be law if and only if it is universally valid and applicable. Physics में एक लॉ तभी कहा जाता है किसी चीज को जब वो यूनिवर्सली वैलिड हो और यूनिवर्सली एप्लीकेबल हो. तो ऑल अबव लॉज आर वैलिड बट विद लिमिटेशंस. अब वो लिमिटेशंस क्या है या ऐसा क्या है जिसकी वजह से क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स फेल हो. So these are few points I want to show you that these certain phenomena were not explained by the classical mechanics. So number one, stability of atoms or molecules, energy spectra distribution of black body radiations, photoelectric effect, and any phenomena that involves distance greater than 10 raised to power minus 10 meter. It means the distance is greater than the atomic dimensions. Now, see, all these processes have atomic dimensions basically where classical mechanics have failed. Now I make you understand these points one by one. So number one, stability of atoms and molecules. Students, classical mechanics says that every body that is in circular motion is always in accelerated state. क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स के मुताबिक हर एक बॉडी जो सर्कुलर मोशन में है वो एक्सेलरेटेड है. जैसे अगर आप किसी भी पत्थर को रस्सी से बांध कर घुमाते हो तो छूटते ही वो बाहर की तरफ भागती है जिसको हम टेंजेंशियल एक्सेलरेशन बोलते हैं. यू पीपल नो दैट. इसका मतलब जब वो सर्कुलर मोशन में थी दैट वाज ऑलरेडी इन एक्सेलरेटेड स्टेट. ओके, if we obey this thing of classical mechanics and applies this on the motion of electron, then you see electrons revolve around the nucleus in specified orbits. Okay, they are in circular motion. Okay, then according to classical mechanics they should have acceleration. Now classical electromagnetic theory says that every accelerating charge will emit the radiation. अब क्लासिकल की ही इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक थ्योरी ये कहती है कि ऐसा कोई भी चार्ज जो एक्सेलरेटेड स्टेट में है इट वुड एमिट रेडिएशन. अब इलेक्ट्रॉन इज अ चार्ज एंड इट इज एक्सेलरेटिंग, ऑब्वियसली देन इट शुड एमिट द रेडिएशन. और रेडिएशन का एमिशन मतलब एनर्जी का एमिशन. ऑब्वियसली if electron is to emit energy continuously as it is in continuous motion, then it should not revolve in the same orbit. तो ये उसी ऑर्बिट में नहीं रह सकता क्योंकि हर एक ऑर्बिट की अपनी स्पेसिफाइड एनर्जी होती है. अगर इलेक्ट्रॉन कॉन्टिन्यूसली एनर्जी को लूज कर रहा है तो उसे लगातार अपनी ऑर्बिट को छोड़ के न्यूक्लियस के पास वाली ऑर्बिट्स में जंप कर जाना चाहिए. इट मीन्स its radius of revolution should continuously reduce. And what would finally result? Ultimately, the electron should fall into the nucleus. It should merge into the nucleus. But we all know that this does not happen. ये कभी नहीं होता कि इलेक्ट्रॉन कोई न्यूक्लियस में जाके गिर जाए. इसका मतलब क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स के मुताबिक अगर इलेक्ट्रॉन न्यूक्लियस में फॉल कर जाता है then atom should not be stable. Atom should collapse. Finally, या तो एटम स्टेबल नहीं है या क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स यहाँ पर एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. बट वी ऑल नो दैट एटम्स आर इन स्टेबल फॉर्म, अदरवाइज मैटर एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता. इसका सीधा मतलब ये है, वी कैन कंक्लूड दैट the laws of classical mechanics are not applicable to the explanation of stability of atoms. Now, the important part, the black body radiation. First, understand what is a black body. A perfectly black body is one which absorbs all the radiations of all the wavelengths which fall on it. Black body वो है जो हर तरह की वेवलेंथ जो उसके ऊपर फॉल करे उन सभी वेवलेंथ्स को वो एब्जॉर्ब कर ले. और इस फिगर को ध्यान से देखिए, इसमें कोई भी जो भी रेडिएशन अंदर एंटर कर रही है इट सफर्स मल्टीपल रिफ्लेक्शंस बट नेवर टेक्स एग्जिट फ्रॉम दिस बॉडी एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट इज कंप्लीटली एब्जॉर्ब्ड. It is neither reflects nor transmits any radiation outside and appears black. On the other hand, if we heat the black body, then it emits radiation of all the possible wavelengths. तो ये फिर से सभी possible wavelengths, if we say lambda equal to 0 to lambda equal to 1, it emits every possible wavelength. But the main thing to note here, a perfectly black body is just an ideal concept which is similar to perfect gas. And as perfect gas does not exist, a perfect black body is also not existing. It can never be 100% realized in actual practices. Means a body can never absorb 100% of radiations falling on it, neither can it emit 100% of the radiations that it absorbed. If I name few, then platinum with black surface absorbs just 98% to its maximum of the incident radiation, and the lamp black absorbs 96% of the incident radiation. Now, the emitted radiation from the hot body we call them as thermal radiation. जो भी radiation एक black body जब उसको गर्म किया जाए then it becomes a hot body. उस hot body से जो भी radiations emit होंगे उनको हम thermal radiations बोलते हैं. Since a perfectly black body absorbs all the radiations falling upon it, and that is why it has coefficient of absorption as 1, as it is written above. क्योंकि यह सभी वेवलेंथ्स को absorb कर लेती है, इसलिए इसकी absorptivity हम 1 लेके चलते हैं. At any temperature, it emits radiation of all wavelengths from lambda equal to 0 to lambda equal to infinity, and that is why it has coefficient of emission as equal to 1. Yes, the amount of radiation would be different for different wavelengths. हर एक वेवलेंथ जो कि अलग अलग होंगी, उनके हिसाब से जो रेडिएशन का अमाउंट होगा emitted, वो जरूर अलग अलग होगा. Now, to study the spectra of energy distribution, Lummer and Prinzheim did an experiment. This is the experimental setup which they did, which they performed. And what they investigated? They investigated the distribution of energy among the radiation emitted by the black body versus wavelengths at different temperatures. Now, in the experimental arrangement shown in this figure, the radiation from black body, now black body is placed above the slit S1. See carefully here. The radiation from the black body passed through the slit S1 and falls on the reflector M1. यहाँ पर जो मिरर है वो रिफ्लेक्टर की तरह काम करते हैं. The radiation through the slit S1 falls on the reflector M1, which passes through the prism ABC. This prism ABC has been placed on a turning table of spectrometer. I will tell you why this table is chosen as turning table. Now the emergent light from the prism is in the next step focused by the next mirror reflector M2 on a line, after which the radiation passed through slit S2, over which the bolometer is placed, and this bolometer is connected to a sensitive galvanometer. Galvanometer intensity of radiation को sense करेगा और deflection show करेगा. The intensity of each line would be proportional to that deflection in the galvanometer, and finally the curve will be drawn. Now the role of turning table. The turning table will be slowly rotated so that different part of the radiation spectrum successively falls on the bolometer and the corresponding deflection could be recorded. हम धीरे धीरे टर्न टेबल को रोटेट करेंगे ताकि रेडिएशन के सभी हिस्से या अलग अलग पार्ट जितने भी रेडिएशन में हैं वो बोलोमीटर पे फॉल करें और अकॉर्डिंगली हमारे पास डिफ्लेक्शंस गैल्वेनोमीटर में रिकॉर्ड हो जाए. एंड फाइनली द कर्व, the plot is drawn between intensity and the wavelength lambda. Now, as the experimental setup has been done to perform the experiment at different temperatures, the body is heated. The body is heated to different temperatures, and obviously we will have multiple curves corresponding to various temperatures. And the curves obtained in this experiment has been recorded and shown here. See, the x-axis represents the wavelengths, while the y-axis shows the intensity of radiations. Now in this 4 point lies the major results of the experiment. See, number 1, at a given temperature, the energy is not uniformly distributed. अगर हम किसी एक टेम्परेचर की बात करें तो एनर्जी यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड नहीं है. You can see from the plot that, say at temperature 904 Kelvin, the intensity of radiation first increases, reaches to a maximum, and then decreases. It is not uniform. And this trend increases further with the rise in temperature. You can see if the temperature is increased from 904 Kelvin to 1095 Kelvin, the curve gets certain height. And the same trend is observed on further increasing the temperature. And increase in temperature also results into increase in emission for all wavelengths. Now, one important point to note, increase in temperature results decrease of the lambda value. Lambda means wavelength value where the peak occurred. See, the dashed line shows the different peaks joined. डैश लाइन के थ्रू हमने हर एक टेम्परेचर पे जो पीक हमें मिलती है उसको ज्वाइन करके दिखाया है और हम देख सकते हैं कि जब जब टेम्परेचर हमने बढ़ाया डैश लाइन जीरो ऑफ द एक्स एक्सिस की तरफ मूव कर रही है। इसका मतलब जिस जैसे जैसे हम टेम्परेचर बढ़ाते हैं वो वेवलेंथ जहां पर हमें मैक्सिमम इंटेंसिटी ऑफ रेडिएशन मिलेगी वो शॉर्टर वेवलेंथ की तरफ मिलती है। अब ये रिजल्ट है हमारे लूमर एंड प्रिंसहाइम एक्सपेरिमेंट का। और अगर ये ब्लैक बॉडी का एनर्जी स्पेक्ट्रा है तो क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स के लॉज हमने इसके ऊपर अप्लाई करके देखे हैं। वी आर ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लेन these results using classical mechanics. Now first, let us take Wien's law. What does Wien's law states? It states that amounts of energy dE associated with any spectral region which lies in the wavelength range lambda to d lambda emitted by a black body at a temperature T is given by this relation dE is equal to k lambda raised to power minus 5 energy raised to power minus alpha over kt and t lambda. However, this law was not found according to the experimental curves of Loomer and Prinsheim. इस लॉ के अकॉर्डिंग हमारे जो एक्सपेरिमेंटल कर्व्स हैं जो एक्सपेरिमेंट से हमें मिली हैं उनको हम एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाए। इस लॉ की सक्सेस सिर्फ इतनी ही थी कि शॉर्टर वेवलेंथ्स और लोअर टेम्परेचर्स पे इट hold good, but it didn't hold good at longer wavelength and at higher temperatures. It gives satisfactory result only up to 2000 Kelvin. Next, Rayleigh and Jean tried to explain these experimental curves. They assumed that any body consists of large number of atoms and each of those atoms behaves as a radiation generator or atomic oscillator. All these oscillator in the lattice oscillates with its own frequency. Rayleigh and Jean ने assume किया कि कोई भी solid है बहुत सारे atoms से मिलके बना है और हर एक atom जो कि अपनी अपनी पोजीशन पर oscillate कर रहा है उनकी अपनी frequency है। They can emit energy in the form of continuous spectrum and they can also absorb energy in the form of continuous spectrum. And they followed the method of classical mechanics and somehow proved that dE is equal to 8 pi nu square qt d nu over c cube. Now the formula which Rayleigh and Jean produced using the concept of classical mechanics. According to this formula, with the rise of nu, the energy emitted should approach infinite. इसका मतलब जैसे जैसे nu बढ़ेगा एनर्जी का भी continuous rise होना चाहिए, but it is contradiction to the observed experimental result. ये हमें एक्सपेरिमेंट में कहीं देखने को नहीं मिला। फ्रीक्वेंसी के साथ एनर्जी का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, जैसा कि आप इस प्लॉट में भी देख सकते हैं, बढ़ता है, फिर एक पीक मिलती है और उसके बाद फिर से डिक्रीज हो जाता है, जबकि अकॉर्डिंग टू रेलाई जीन formula, it should go upward as it is shown in the plot here. So by now, it is clear that the energy distribution of a black body could not be explained on the basis of the classical concept in which it is written that the emission or absorption of energy by the atom is continuous. And this was the big failure of classical mechanics. And this thing led to the development of classical mechanics. This discrepancy in the black body was overcome by a German scientist, Max Planck, in 1900, who proposed his new theory. Now, that theory is known as old quantum theory. It was first explained by him, and his theory was applied to many crucial problems of microscopic dimensions and produced thus satisfactory solutions too. According to his theory, the exchange of energy between electromagnetic field and matter occurs through a discrete packet or quanta, each of which has a definite value h nu. You very well know the Planck's law. E is equal to h nu. The radiation emitted or absorbed by any atom or molecule is given by discrete quanta of energy, h nu. Now students, मैक्स प्लैंक ने क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स की नींव रखी। उसकी क्वांटम थ्योरी से ब्लैक बॉडी को भी एक्सप्लेन किया जा सका। अब जब क्वांटम कॉन्सेप्ट डेवलप होना शुरू हुए तो दो मैथमेटिकल प्रोसीजर के थ्रू उसका डेवलपमेंट शुरू हुआ। Two quantum concepts began from two distinctly different mathematical procedure, और दोनों ही प्रोसीजर दो अलग अलग साइंटिस्ट के द्वारा डेवलप किए गए। One was matrix mechanics and other was wave mechanics. Matrix mechanics was introduced by Heisenberg while the wave mechanics was developed by Schrödinger. Usually quantum mechanics include both the concepts and their final results are also found to be equivalent, but it is admitted that many distinguished physicists like Albert Einstein, Niels Bohr, Louis de Broglie, Max Born, Paul Dirac, Heisenberg, Schrödinger, Richard Feynman, and Compton have contributed to the development of quantum mechanics. And quantum mechanics is that important that it has many significant successes in solving and explaining the microscopic results of molecular, atomic, and nuclear dimensions. Now, before ending this lecture, finally see the main points of difference between classical mechanics and quantum mechanics, as you now able to understand both the mechanics and their dimensions. See, classical mechanics deals with macroscopic particles, okay, and quantum mechanics deals with microscopic particles. Classical mechanics mainly based on Newton's laws of motion, while quantum mechanics is based on Heisenberg uncertainty principle and de Broglie concept of dual nature of light, that we will discuss in detail into our next lecture. अब Heisenberg uncertainty principle क्या है कि हम किसी भी इलेक्ट्रॉन की पोजीशन और मोमेंटम को एक साथ कैलकुलेट नहीं कर सकते। डी ब्रॉगली कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ड्यूअल नेचर ऑफ लाइट क्या है कि लाइट कभी भी सिर्फ पार्टिकल या सिर्फ वेव नहीं हो सकती, इट हैज ड्यूअल नेचर। क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स इज बेस्ड ऑन मैक्सवेल्स इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक वेव थ्योरी, जिसके हिसाब से हमने रेलाई जीन फॉर्मूला भी सीखा कि एनर्जी का एमिशन और एब्जॉर्प्शन कॉन्टिन्यूअस होता है। जबकि क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स में प्लैंक्स थ्योरी ने क्लियर किया कि एनर्जी को सिर्फ डिस्क्रीट पैकेट्स के थ्रू ही ट्रांसफर किया जा सकता है। Now, in classical mechanics, obviously the state of the system can be specified by all the forces acting on the particle and by their individual position and velocities, or you can say momentum. And using these position and velocity, we can also predict their future states. While in quantum mechanics, as Heisenberg uncertainty principles govern here, we cannot locate any particle very precisely. And if we try to do so, we have to lose accuracy in its momentum. And it only gives us probability of finding any particle in some locations. So I end by here, and in the next lecture, you stay tuned for the basic formulation of quantum mechanics. Thank you.